During this video, I will walk through creating, editing, using, and organizing views in the Operations console. Views are used to present useful information to the Ops Manager operator. Management packs from Microsoft and other vendors will ship default views out of the box. You may personalize these views or create your own views as required. You can also add frequently used views to your own workspace. Let's look at some different types of views in the monitoring space of the console. First, let's look at the state of all computers we are monitoring. Notice I can see properties of each object in the Details pane, and I can also pivot to the Health Explorer for that object. I can also pivot to other views for the objects I have selected, such as an event view. This shows me all events collected for the object I had selected. Now let's look at the state of all the SQL databases I am monitoring. Again, I can see the properties of each object in the Details view. If I pivot to a performance view from a specific database, I will see the performance data that has been collected just for that one object. In this case, I have just started monitoring, so I only have a small amount of data. If there are entire folders of views that I am not interested in, I can hide these by using the Show or Hide Views link. Let me hide a few views. I can add these back at any time. You should note that the views an operator will be able to see are governed by his or her security roles. An administrator can restrict the views as requires. For views that ship as part of a vendor management pack, I can personalize the view to show the columns that I want. Let's do that for the SQL Database Engines view. I can right-click and choose Personalize View. Let me add a couple of columns to show properties of the objects. Once a column is shown, I can sort on that column if I want. I can use the Find functionality to search for objects in the view that match my criteria. Now I'm going to create some new views. First, I will create a new folder for my views. I right-click on the monitoring node and select Create New Folder. I give the folder a name and I choose the management pack to create it in. All views created under this folder will be added to the same management pack. Now I'm going to create a new state view. So I right-click on my new folder, select New and choose State View. I give the view a name and description and then I pick a type of object to show. I'm going to pick SQL Database Engine as the type of object. I am going to add criteria for a property defined on this type of object called Service Pack Version. I will set this to 1. I click OK to create the view. I will now see a list of instances that have Service Pack 1 installed. I see only one object. If I bring up the object properties, you can see that it does indeed have a value of 1 for the Service Pack version. The second view I will create is a performance view. I select New Performance View and give the view a name and description as before. For the target, I select SQL 2005 DB class, so I'll see data just about the SQL 2005 databases. I now choose the counter to show. I'm interested in any counter with free space in the name, so I use a wildcard expression. I enter the criteria and click OK. Now see that I have two counters for each database. There are DB free space and log free space counters. The final view I'm going to create is a dashboard view. I will add the two new views that I just created to the dashboard. I select New Dashboard View and give the view a name and choose the layout I want for my view. Once the view is created, I can add the views I want to each panel. I choose the state view I just created for one panel, and I choose the performance view for the other panel. Since this will be a common view for me to look at, I want to add it to my workspace. I can right-click on any view and select Add View to my workspace. I can rename the view as I want, and I could also create a folder structure under my workspace. I will create the view at the root level. Now if I go to my workspace, I can see the new view. The final feature I'd like to show you is scoping to a group. I previously created a group monitoring just 3 of my important databases. Let me show you the members of this group from the Groups view by finding the group and selecting View Group Members. Now I will go to the State view for all my SQL Server databases. And I can use the Scope button on the toolbar to scope this view to a group of objects. I select my database group that I created and click OK. See that I reduced the list of databases to the members of the group. Also, I have a message at the top of the view indicating that I am scoped. I can change the scope or remove the scope by clicking the Close button. That concludes this short session on views in the Operations Manager console.